Hey ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. You are here in the home of the slightly above average ship review. I was thinking after my Spot Cruiser video last week, hey, I think I have some archive footage of the Z-39, and I do, and I think the Z-39 is a great ship if you're grinding that 1.4 million green XP to get to the Spot Cruiser, the SP1, the Z-40, or as Wargaming calls it, the Elbing. It's the ship right below it in the development line, the little sister, the Z-39. So the Z-39 was part of the Z-23 class, but it's really an advancement internally, kind of like the Russian destroyers have that Project 7 and Project 7U. So the Germans had 1936A destroyers, which is the Z-23, that Tier 7 tech tree destroyer. And they also had the 1936A mob destroyers. Now, I don't know what mob means, but I can tell you here in the notes on Wikipedia, it says, slightly larger, some internal modifications, including engines that cause less trouble than with their predecessors. So that is the difference between the Z-23 design and this Z-39 / mob design. I also want to note the Z-39 had a very unusual history in that it was a destroyer for 3 different nations. Obviously, originally it was a German destroyer, then sold or transferred to the U.S., pardon me, as a war prize. I think its hull number was DD 939, and then later transferred to France and had a Q ship number, so it got around. But the Z-39 is a great primer for the Elbing because it's got those same 150 millimeter guns, and it's got the same turret arrangement. Now, it doesn't have the same number of gun barrels. You've got that twin turret up in front, as we're engaging this Benson here with the high explosive. And it's got 2 single turrets to the rear, but that is the same turret arrangement of the Elbing. 1 in the front, 2 in the rear. So that's going to tell you this ship is good at kiting away and shooting. And you've got that longer reload to deal with. All right, here we're over in the Alpha Cap, and I have to stop talking about the similarities between the ships so I can shoot torpedoes at the Scharnhorst, which is moving in here and is already dealing with some torpedoes. We wasted our other torpedoes on the Benson, hoping it would come around the island, but instead we're just going to engage the Benson with these 150 millimeter guns. Do a long reload, about 7 seconds. But as you can see, they do a ton of absolute smash damage as opposed to splash damage. I don't know where that salvo went. But we got the Scharnhorst with torpedoes. He's flooding out, and we're going to take out the Benson right there. Kill number 1. Kind of child's play. And we're going to take out the Scharnhorst right here for the double strike. Oh, it feels so good. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, that is how it's done here in the Z-39. All right, let's talk about the similarities between the Z-39 and the Z-40 / Elbing. And I will be using WoW's builds to pull some selected stats off the interwebs for your brain. All right, reload of the main guns, Z-39, 7.5 seconds. Reload of the main guns, Elbing, 7.5 seconds. High explosive damage, Z-39, 2200 max damage. HE damage for the Elbing, 1700. What happened, Ouija? Why did you nerf the HE damage of these 150 millimeter shells? But wait, there's more. Armor piercing damage of the Z-39, 3,700 max damage. Armor piercing damage of the Elbing, 4,100 max damage. So again, not the same. The Elbing lost HE damage, they gained armor-piercing damage, but at the end of the day, you're still getting that big boost in armor-piercing damage you see from German ships, or at least German destroyers. So that's going to give you a lot of that similarity in the punching power, what you're going to be able to put on other enemy ships. All right, we're going to go back to the game here really quickly. Sign up trying to sneak through this crack here. I'll just say this right now. I have no idea how this sign up was able to survive. I was leery about getting too close because I didn't want to get into this kind of arc where your torpedoes can't arm, and I felt if I tried to chase the sign up into that gap, that's exactly what would have happened. So we launched both sets of torpedoes, 8 torpedoes in the water. Unfortunately for me, 1, 2, 3, just 3 torpedo strikes, and not enough to finish off the sign-up. Truly unfortunate, but again, I really didn't feel like I had any other option there. There was more room in that narrow passageway where I thought I would have been able to get torpedoes active. I probably would have pushed in, but I just didn't see it there. Not to mention we did take a big chunk of damage from that sign-up because very detectable, and we got a big profile here in the water. All right, we're going to engage him with HE. Maybe if I had to do this all over again, I would have engaged him with armor piercing. But that was before I learned the ways of the Elbing. I want to say I do have the same commander, Erich Bai, with a similar setup in this ship. Although I will say this preceded the Elbing footage by about 2 months, maybe. All right, so the sign-up is dead, not by our own hand. We missed out on that one. So now we're going to traverse the map. I believe the enemy is going to start to threaten the cap circle here, where I'm lighting up the map. And right now, we're kind of dead even. You know, they've got 10 more points than we do, but we have 3 kills and they have 3 kills. All right, back to the comparison of the Z-39 and the Elbing. Z-39 max speed, 36 knots. Elbing max speed, 36.2 knots. Sea detectability of the Z-39s, 6.8 kilometers base. Sea detectability of the Elbing, 6.9 kilometers base. All right, I could go on, but I think I've illustrated the point here that the Z-39 is kind of a lower level version of the Elbing, a little sister, if you would. If ships are females, the Z-39 is the little sister of the Elbing, aka Z-40. That would have been its hull number if it had gotten it completed and out into the battle space of World War II. So you've got 4 gun barrels instead of 6. You know, the Elbing has much longer running torpedoes. This ship, the Z-39, has 8-kilometer torpedoes. When I first got this ship, I said, oh, I need to spec into the torpedoes because this ship doesn't have a great DPM because of that long reload. I think maybe I need to rethink this ship. Not that I'm going to change my commander from what it is right now, but maybe look to do a little bit more gun damage. Speaking of gun damage, we're going to do some gun damage coming up here, but we're also going to do some torpedo damage because what do we see in front of there on the screen? The Ryujo. And what is better than shooting a Ryujo with these 150 millimeter guns than torping a Ryujo, which I can do because I'm good like that. All right, we've got that speed boost going, and it still has a lot of time left. Got to say, I like the long-running speed boost on the Z-39 an awful lot. We are turning and predicting where the Ryujo is going to turn away to and shooting on our torpedoes. We've got the armor piercing loaded, and we're not really trying to hide because we're easy to see. But I feel that there's enemy ship around the corner here, and we're going to try to give him the surprise of his life. All right, here's a P-Cola, a tasty nugget for a ship like the Z-39 with the armor piercing loaded. As you can see, not really having a total great luck getting all gun barrels on target, But I am having great luck. We took out the Ryujo, unlocked that high caliber, also a devastating strike metal. All right, there's a Citadel with this armor piercing, and we're keeping it going as we back up to dodge some torpedoes. Again, having trouble getting all 3 gun barrels on target. So even just a slight angle is going to prevent you from doing that. But at least we got another Citadel for our trouble. And an angled ship, you got to like that. All right, and we take him out using our HE because he was giving us that bow angle. And we dodge some more torpedoes while we're at it. Well, this match is going to end pretty soon. I just want to encourage you guys and gals, if you don't have the Elbing, and it's going to be a long time before you get it, but you are thinking about maybe a Premium 6, you certainly couldn't go wrong with the Z-39. Now, granted, just destroyer speak, the Z-35 is probably the best destroyer at the tier when you talk about all-around gameplay, because it's got smoke sonar, okay? And we're talking premiums only, not tech tree ships. Obviously, you could go into the tech tree, and you could get the tech tree version of this ship, and that's all well and good. But if you're looking for a premium credit earner, kind of a younger, lower level, a little less powerful analog to the Elbing, or maybe you already have it and you don't really use it that much, the Z-39 is where you should try out those commander builds for the Elbing when you get it, okay? Because it's going to allow you to see all the things that you would see in an Elbing. You're going to see broadside cruisers, you're going to see aircraft carriers, and just like the Elbing, to me, broadside cruisers, aircraft carriers, that's where you're going to make your money in this ship. And then, of course, yes, you can take on other destroyers, but that's where you're going to use that improved HE with that 2200 splash to do what the armor piercing won't do, because it probably won't trigger on the armor of a tier 6 or below destroyer. Okay, and maybe that's why Wargaming nerfed the HE strike of the Elbing and boosted it up here in the Z-39. You don't want to get into a DPM war with this ship. You won't win because it takes too long to reload. However, a wounded destroyer or one like the Benson that lets you shoot at it a bunch of times, and we didn't have any problem taking the Benson out. But granted, he didn't really shoot back at me that much. So you're going to have to judge that before you get into the encounter. I would say if you know you're going up against a true gunboat like the Kid or like the Benson or maybe Les Terrible, got to really plan that encounter ahead of time and know what you're going to do before you get into it. All right, the battle ended. We got some milestones. Here we are on the victory screen. 136,126 total damage, double strike, devastating strike, high caliber metal, 10, count them, 10 torpedo strikes. That's pretty amazing. 4 kills, could add that 5th kill. We let that sign up slip through our fingers, and a couple of Citadel hits. We ended up with 818,013 silver, 11,525 ship XP. I got so excited. 2744 base XP, 4 big kills, 3 medals. It's a good ship, folks. Just treat it like you would treat the Elbing. Test out your commander builds in this ship. Then when you get the Elbing, you can go out there and have that great game. Thanks for watching, everybody.